Hi everyone, please settle down and welcome back to another session with me. As promised 2 sessions ago, our introduction to the Civil Code of the Philippines will involve obligations and contracts law. In the last 2 sessions, we talked about obligations, and now that we're done with the legal aspects of rules and obligations, we're now going to proceed to the contracts law. Okay, so contracts, a little review. What are the 5 sources of obligations? That's correct. Okay, you have laws, contracts, quasi contracts, delicts, and quasi delicts. So, as you know, an obligation is created by either one of these 5 sources, and one of the most common things that you will encounter in your careers in the future are contracts. So let's define what is a contract. The law under the new Civil Code of the Philippines defines a contract under Article 1305. A contract is defined as a meeting of the minds between 2 persons, whereby one binds himself with respect to the other to either give something or to render some service. Himay-himay natin. Sinasabi, ang contract, yan ay kasunduan, meeting of the minds between 2 persons. Again, side note, nakalagay dito, persons. Pag sinabing persons, it can be either what again? It can be a natural person or a juridical person. If you want to review what the difference between a natural person and a juridical person, kindly go back to our previous sessions. Now, ang contract always involves 2 persons, okay? Whereby the first person or one of the persons binds himself with respect to the other person to either give something or render some service. Either serbisyong bibigay niya or magbibigay siya ng something. Alright? As reviewed earlier, ang contract is only one of the 5 sources of obligation. Ang obligation, kapag ka na-create ng either one of the sources, like contracts, kailangan siyang i-perform. Bakit? Because it is now a civil obligation, and if you do not perform or fulfill what was agreed upon, the other party will have the right to sue you. Pwede kang ihabla sa korte to either compel you to fulfill the obligation and or for you to be liable for the payment of damages. Ano ulit yung damages? Pera. Kapag hindi mo tinupad ang kasunduan na pinasukan mo, either through law or through a contract or a quasi-contract or delict or quasi-delict, kapag hindi mo tinupad yon, pwede kang maging liable for damages. Magbabayad ka. Now, how is a contract created? Paano ba nakikreate ang isang contract? Simple lang yun, guys. It is by way of the meeting of minds. Pag nagkasundo, yan, meron tayong kontrata. Okay? Kailangan lang na mapakita natin na merong naging kasunduan. So, either dito sa picture na to, by shaking hands. But, sometimes, pwedeng verbal, okay? So, generally kasi, ang contract, na perfect yan when there is agreement or where there is consent sa object ng contract, sa price or consideration ng contract, sa terms and conditions ng contract. Once na lahat ng yan, merong nagkasundo ang lahat ng parties, ang contract ay perfected. Ano ulit yun? When we say the contract has all its requisites present, the contract is perfected. Okay? Now, may exception ang general rule. Ang general rule natin, consensual lang. Napaperfect ang contract by simply giving of consent. Pero meron tayong exception. At yan ay ang real contracts. Ano ang real contracts? Ang real contracts ay ang kontrata na nangangailangan ng not only consent but also may delivery. Additional siyang requisite. Okay? Ano mga sample ng real contracts? Yan ay ang loans, ang deposits, ang pledges. Okay? So generally, ang gusto kong maalala ninyo class is, a contract is perfected by mere consent. Except kung real contract siya. Kung loan siya, kailangan yung delivery ng loan kasama para ma-perfect yung contract. Kung pledge siya or kung deposit siya, kailangan yung delivery ng item na di-deposit. Kailangan magawa yon para ma-perfect yung contract. Other than that, simpleng meeting of the minds lang, okay na. General rule tayo. Now, contrary to beliefs, okay? Ang kontrata, hindi yan yung papel na nakikita ninyo. Okay? Disabuse yourself that the contract is the paper that you see being signed by the parties. Ang contract, as defined by law, is the meeting of the minds. Okay? Ibig sabihin, yung papel na nakikita ninyong pinipirmahan ng parties pag meron silang kontrata, that is only a piece of evidence to show you na merong contract na pinasok, may contract na perfect. Okay? So, that paper is the instrument or the evidence of the existence of a perfected contract. Pero ano ang general rule? Kailangan ng isang contract para ma-perfect, kailangan lang merong meeting of the minds. Okay? So, kailangan lang, balik tayo sa general rule, kailangan lang ng meeting of the minds. Yan ay yung consent. So, ano pa ba yung kailangan para ma-perfect yung contract? Meron tayong tatlong essential requisites for the creation of a contract or the perfection of a contract. Okay? There is no contract unless these three essential requisites are present. At ano yung mga yon? The first one is consent, the second is object, and the third one is cause or consideration. Okay? Once all these essential requisites appear, the contract is perfected. Okay? Iisa-isahin natin yan. Ano ba yung consent of the contracting parties? Ano ba yung object? Certain. The object certain, which is the subject matter of the contract. And ano ba yung cause or consideration of the obligation, which is established? Itong legal basis ng discussion natin for the essential requisites of a contract, guys, magsistem from Article 1318 of the Civil Code of the Philippines. So are you ready to enjoy the essential requisites of a contract? Well, I hope so, because we'll start with consent. Consent is manifested by the meeting of the offer and acceptance of the thing and the cause which are to constitute the contract. So, ano ba? Ibig sabihin, may nagkasundo sila. Nagkasundo sila sa offer. Sa offer, okay? And inaccept din yung thing and then yung cost na binibigay at hinilahad dun sa kontrata. Okay. I guess the point of this slide, dear class, is that yung consent, itong meeting of the minds natin, it has to be free. It has to be voluntary. It has to be willful. Ano ba yung very kailangan siyang willful, kailangan siya may reasonable understanding, kailangan niya very intentional, very demure dapat. Kailangan siya yung consent willingly ibinigay nung parties sa isa't isa. Alam nila kung anong mangyayari, may understanding sila kung ano yung pinapasok nila, and voluntary, walang nag-force sa kanila para pumasok doon sa kontrata na yon. Yun na dapat ang consent. Requirement yan ng law. Okay? Kapag ang consent, merong violence, nakuha ang consent because of intimidation, or nakuha siya because of undue influence, or nakuha siya dahil sa fraud, or nagkamali yung isa sa pagbigay niya ng consent, ibig sabihin, yung contract na nabuo is voidable. Okay? Ibig sabihin yan, pag voidable ang contract, valid yung contract, merong kontrata, pero you can go to the courts for it to be declared void. Okay? So, ang voidable class, pag ang kontrata, meron yung 3 essential requisites natin. Merong consent, merong object, and merong cause or consideration. Kung yung consent hindi freely binigay siya by mistake, or binigay siya ng may threat ng violence, or may intimidation, or binugbog siya para siya ay mag-consent doon sa kontrata, or meron siyang undue influence, pre-pressure siya, or may fraud na ginamit para siya ay mapa-oo doon sa kontrata, valid pa rin yung contract na nabuo. Yung contract na perfect, valid pa rin yun. But because it is avoidable, you can go to the courts para mapawalang bisa yung kontratang na perfect. Understood? Now, the next essential requisite of a contract is object. Kaya itong napili ko class, itong target na to, is ano ba yung gusto mong makuha sa pagpasok ng contract? Yung target mo sa pagpasok mo sa contract. It can either be a thing, it can be a right, or it can be some form of service. Pag ikaw pumunta ka sa salon or sa barbershop, anong gusto mo sa pagpasok sa kontrata with the barber? Ang gusto mo, makuha yung kanyang service, paggupit ng buhok mo, ma-style yung buhok mo. Kapag ikaw pumunta sa sari-sari store sa baba, and may gusto kang bilhin na pansit canton, ano ba yung gusto mong makuha sa pagpasok mo sa contract with the seller? Eh di yung thing, yung pansit canton. Or right. Kung halimbawa, merong gusto mo na magamit yung isang bagay, gusto mo siyang i-lease, anong kailangan mong gawin? Kailangan mo pumasok sa isang kontrata na for a time, a month, a year, ikaw yung gagamit nung bagay na yon. So, lahat ng makukuha mo from that thing, mapapasayo, ang gusto mong makuha, and ang object mo sa pagpasok sa kontrata na yon is a right. So, ito yung tatlong pwedeng maging objects of a contract. It can either be a thing, a right, or a service. So, may mga rules tayo dito, class, ha? Regarding the object of a contract, the first rule I want you to understand is the object must be within the commerce of man. Ibig sabihin, pag sinabing commerce of man, okay, commerce of man, within the commerce of man, ibig sabihin, it is capable of being owned. Okay? It is capable of appropriation. Anong example nito? Ibig sabihin nito, Pag lumabas ka ng bahay ngayon, hindi mo pwedeng ibenta yung kalsada sa harapan ng bahay ninyo kasi that is beyond the commerce of man. Okay? A next rule I want you to understand is the object must be lawful. Anong ibig sabihin example nito? Example, yung pagbenta ng shabu or other contrabands, those cannot be a proper object of a valid contract. Hindi pwedeng pag bumili ka ng shabu sa isang pusher, tapos hindi naman ikaw nagbigay ka ng bayad, hindi ka naman binigyan ng shabu, hindi ka pwedeng pumunta sa courts para ihabla yung pusher because walang contract na perfect. Bakit? Because yung essential requisite na object sa inyong kasunduan is not lawful. In this case, shabu. Another rule I want you to understand is the object should not be contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order, or public policy. Anong example? Hindi mo pwedeng, di ba pwedeng either thing, right, or service yung bibigay, yung object mo, di ba? Hindi pwedeng ang ibebenta mo is rob a bank service. Okay? Hindi ka pwedeng mag-advertise na, okay, for a certain amount, na nakawan ko itong bangko na to, I'm open to everyone who can afford me. Hindi pwedeng ganon because the object, the services, should not be contrary to law. Ang robbing a bank or robbery is against the law under the revised penal code. And then, intransmissible rights cannot be the object of a contract. Ano ibig sabihin ng intransmissible? Ang intransmissible from the root word transmit. Ibig sabihin, itong right na to hindi pwedeng i-transfer. It cannot be transmitted from you to another. Therefore, you cannot sell your intransmissible right. Anong example nito? Yung political rights mo. Yung right to vote, for example. Yung right to vote, hindi yan pwedeng ibenta. Kaya guys, please, lalo na tayong lalulugmok sa kahirapan. Alam natin na wala naman talagang malinis na player sa politics, lalo na dito sa Pilipinas. Pero, do not sell your right to vote so that yung politician na mas dadala sa Pilipinas sa kahirapan ang mananalo. Kung hindi, tayo rin naman magsasuffer. So, even if you want to sell your vote, sinasabi ng law na intransmissible right yan. Therefore, it cannot be the proper object of a valid contract. Alright? Lastly, cause or consideration. Okay? So, ano yung first one natin? Consent or meeting of the minds. Ano yung second essential requisite natin? Object. The third one is cause or consideration. This is the reason why the parties enter into the contract. Ito yung kung meron kang target na kunin sa object, ano yung willing mong ibigay para makuha yung target na yon? Ito yung consideration. Example, in a contract of sale for a Toyota Vios, ang cost and consideration depende yan sa point of view. Para sa buyer, ikaw, kung gusto mong bumili ng Toyota Vios, ang cost or consideration for you is the ownership of that Toyota Vios. Whereas yung seller naman, ang cost or consideration para sa kanya is the payment of your money. Okay? So, kung ang object is ano yung gusto mong matarget na mapasayo or makuha mo or ma-acquire mo, ang cost or consideration is ano naman yung willing mong ibigay kapalit nung object na gusto mo. Pag nagkasundo sa ibibigay mo, nagkasundo kayo sa gusto mong makuha, ibig sabihin meron kayong meeting of the minds, meron kayong perfected na contract. Ngayon, di ba sabi natin guys, consensual contracts, yan yung general rule. Basta merong meeting of the minds, may consent as to the object and the cost or consideration, meron kayong perfected contract. General rule kasi, sabi ng law, kahit anong klase ng form, kahit nakataga pa yan sa bato, kahit nakasulat pa yan sa dahon ng saging, kahit talkies lang yan, usap nyo lang yan, binding yan from the moment of perfection. General rule kasi, contracts are valid and binding from the moment of its perfection regardless of form, whether it be oral or whether it be written, provided the three essential requisites are present. At ano yung three essential requisites again? It's consent or meeting of the minds, object, and consideration or cost. Ulitin natin. Ano ulit yun? The three essential requisites of a contract. Meeting of the minds or consent, object, and then cost or consideration. Pero general rule lang yan guys. Meron tayong mga certain contracts na kailangan nakalagay siya sa some kind of form. Kailangan may forma siya. And hinihingi yun ng batas. Ano yung mga contracts na hindi pwedeng basta-basta lang na perfect? Ito yung either solemn contracts or yung statute of frauds. Okay? Itong exception to the general rule na regardless of form, perfected yung contract, ito yung solemn contracts and yung statute of fraud. So let's discuss solemn contracts first. Solemn contracts is when law requires that a contract be in some form in order for it to be considered valid or enforceable. So may mga contracts kasi guys na kailangan naka-notarize siya, or may mga contracts na kailangan nakasulat siya. Kailangan siya na nakasulat at may pirma. May mga ganong contracts kasi guys, hindi pwedeng verbal lang. Pag yun, nakalagay doon sa law, na itong kontrata na to, kailangan nasa public instrument siya or naka-notarize siya, pag yun, maintain nyo na talkies lang, usapan nyo lang, hindi yun pwedeng makonsider as valid. Or either that, hindi rin siya pwedeng makonsider as enforceable. Hindi mo pwedeng dalhin sa court. Like for example, statute of frauds. Sa statute of frauds, ang kailangan yan nakalagay yung statute of frauds yan sa Article 1403 number 2 ng New Civil Code of the Philippines. Ito kasing statute of frauds, it requires covered transactions to be reduced in writing. Kailangan siya nakasulat. Otherwise, unenforceable siya. Ibig sabihin, pag yung nakasulat sa batas, may mga certain contracts na nakalagay doon, na kailangan ito guys nakasulat sa papel, kailangan may nakasulat na nakasulat yung kasunduan sa papel, and then dapat may pirma nung dapat mag-fulfill nung kasunduan. Kung wala yan, hindi mo pwedeng dalhin sa korte yung other party at i-enforce yung napag-usapan ninyo supposedly. Bakit ganun, class? Because centuries ago, may mga tao na dinadala sa korte na hindi, nagkausapan kami na bibiling ko na yung lupa niya sa yung bahay niya, bibiling ko na, pumayag na siya nasa yung kasunduan ninyo? Wala kaming kasunduan, nag-usap lang kami kahapon. Ang dami-dami kasi napansin na nangyayaring kasong ganon, and nasabi naman ng courts then, na-realize sila na parang wait lang, open ito sa mga hocus pocus. So, sinulat nila sa law na para sa mga kontratang ganito, kailangan ito nakasulat. Kung hindi ito pwede kahit dalhin mo pa sa korte. Okay? Lalo na kung wala pang nangyayari, puro talkies pa lang at wala pang bayaran na nangyayari, hindi mo pwede itong dalhin sa korte. Okay? Ano ba yung sa statute of frauds? Itong statute of frauds, meron tong mga iba't ibang klaseng kontrata. Okay? Ano-ano yung mga to? Merong, paghalimbawa, agreement na sa terms and conditions niya, yung agreement hindi mo ipa-perform until after at least 1 year after nyo mapag-usapan. Eh di syempre, kung napag-usapan nyo ngayon, natatalon siya ng 3 beses. At pag nagtalon siya 3 beses, sunod-sunod, bibigyan mo siya ng 5,000. Pero gagawin niya lang yon 1 year after today. Then, kailangan yon napagkasunduan ninyo at nakasulat sa isang papel. Kasi bakit? Eh syempre, next year, after 365 days, yung memory ninyo, malamang hindi nyo maalala yan. Malamang yung isa nakalimutan na yan. O mamaya yung isa naman, iba na yung naalala niya. Pag tinanong ko kayo kahapon, anong ginawa nyo ng 7:04 kahapon, PM, hindi nyo masasagot agad-agad kasi ganun ang ating memory. Medyo hindi siya dependable. So, ang sabi ng law, kapag merong agreement na by its terms and conditions, it will not be performed within a year from the making thereof, kailangan siya nakasulat. Another example would be pagka merong agreement kayo na bentahan ng lupa. Pagka ang agreement nyo is magbebentahan kayo ng real property, kailangan nakasulat yan. Hindi yan pwedeng talkies lang, hindi pwedeng verbal lang. Kung hindi, kung walang nakasulat, hindi mo pwedeng dalhin sa korte yung kausap mo na, judge, nag-promise siya sa akin na nagkasundo na kami, nabebenta niya sa akin yung bahay niya, saka yung lupa noon, kahapon. Hindi mo pwedeng gawin yan. Hindi mo pwedeng siyang dalhin sa korte dahil hindi naka-reduce into writing yung kontrata. Meron rin na pag nag-decide kayo na i-rent mo yung isang property na longer than 1 year, kailangan yan nakalagay sa papel. Kung hindi, hindi mo pwedeng i-enforce yan sa courts. Okay? So may mga certain documents and certain contracts na hindi pwedeng oral agreement lamang. It has to be in a piece of writing to evidence its existence. Now, let me give you 10 minutes bathroom break so that after that we will be discussing the next subtopic of relevant legal aspects in contracts law. Okay, class, let's continue. So, Let's now talk about the stages of a contract. So alam natin, meron tayo, ano ulit yung three essential requisites of a contract? There has to be consent or the meeting of the minds. Ano number two? There should be object. And then number three is cause or consideration. Once yang tatlong yan present, there is generally a contract that is perfected. But paano ba nabubuo o napaperfect ang contract? We are now going to talk about that in the stages of a contract. So there are three stages, guys. Merong negotiation stage or the generation stage. Meron tayong perfection or the birth of the contract. Pag meron ng perfected contract, meron ng obligation. Correct? And then the third one is the consummation stage or the termination stage. Para na ma-fulfill yung obligation, para matapos na yung kontrata. Okay? So, first one. Negotiation stage or the generation stage. This is the first step. It begins when the prospective contracting parties manifest their interest in entering into a contract with each other. It ends at the moment of perfection. In this stage, bargaining and negotiations occur. Parties create the terms and conditions, and there is no meeting of the minds yet. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, diba, two persons usually ang involved sa isang contract. Dito sa stage na to, the first person and the second person, nagsasabi pa lang sila na we are interested to enter into an agreement with each other. So both of them nag-manifest pa lang, nagsasabi pa lang sila ng kanilang interest. Tapos dito sa stage na to, nagkakaroon ng negotiation, kaya negotiation stage. Right? Negotiation stage kasi, in this stage, nag-uusap sila. Ano ba yung gusto nating object? Ikaw ba, anong willing ka na ibigay? Ano ba yung willing kang makuha? When you decide on ano yung terms and conditions, ano yung object na willing mo ibigay or willing mo makuha, ano yung cost or consideration na willing mo ibigay or willing mo niya makuha, then nasa negotiation stage pa to. Ibig sabihin, hindi pa kompleto ang essential requisites. So, are all three requisites of the contract present? Not yet. Ibig sabihin nito, at this stage, wala pang kontratang napaperfect. Wala pa silang kontrata. Nagne-negotiate pa lang sila. Now, once na maka-agree sila on the object and maka-agree sila on the cost or consideration, then a contract is born. There is a birth of a contract. Ito na yung perfection stage because the object, the consideration, and the refined terms and conditions are mutually agreed upon. May meeting of the minds na at this stage. Therefore, may contract nang perfected. Therefore, meron ng obligation. And then the last stage is, now that meron na silang obligation, now that meron na silang perfected contract, kailangan na silang pumunta sa termination stage, which is the consummation. Kailangan na nilang i-fulfill yung kanilang mga obligations na nabuo. This is the end stage of a contract when the parties have fulfilled their respective obligations. So, example tayo so that you guys will be able to appreciate this more. So, Dave and Anne have decided to get married on December 6, 2024. To prepare for it, they searched for a good wedding reception. Last Sunday, they met with Miss Jamie of Marriott Hotel. Si Miss Jamie, she is the event and catering director of Marriott. And she proposed a quotation worth 1 million pesos, inclusive of food and the use of Ballroom B for the December 6, 2024 wedding date. Dave and Ann, looking to get a good deal, syempre, gusto mo maganda yung deal na makuha nyo, di ba? Asked Miss Jamie if she could extend a 30% discount on the price. Miss Jamie said she can only offer 10% discount. So, class, dito sa ating kwento, si Dave at saka si Ann magpapakasal ng December 6. Naghahanap sila ng wedding venue. So pumunta sila last Sunday sa Marriott Hotel. Nakausap nila si Miss Jamie. Si Miss Jamie, siya yung catering and event director ng Marriott. And nagbigay siya ng quotation. Sabi niya, Mr. Dave and Miss Ann, para sa wedding date niyo December 6, pwede niyong for 1 million pesos, pwede niyong gamitin yung ballroom B namin. And meron na yung food. Itong si Dave at saka si Ann, gusto nila ng good deal. So sabi nila, Miss Jamie, pwede bang bigyan mo kami ng 30% discount just sa 1 million peso mong quotation? Ang sabi ni Miss Jamie, gusto namin na maganda yung wedding ninyo, so we can only offer 10% discount. Magandang deal na yan. So class, was there a perfected contract? Answer yes or no on your paper. The answer is no. There is no contract to speak of yet. The parties are still in the negotiation or bargaining stage. Meron silang pinag-uusapan na 1 million, yun yung cost or consideration. May pinag-uusapan sila na object, ang gusto nung isa, Marriott wedding venue, Marriott Hotel. Pinag-uusapan, fina-finalize nila ngayon yung cost or consideration. 1 million ba yung babayaran for the ballroom and the food sa December 6 na wedding? Or 30% less ng 1 million yung discount? Or 10% less lang ng discount ng 1 million? Pinag-uusapan pa nila yung cost or consideration. Therefore, yung 3 essential requisites of a contract hindi pa nagkakaroon ng presence. So, in this case, the offer of Miss Jamie was met with a counter-offer of a request for a discount from Dave and Ann. So the parties have yet to arrive and have yet to agree on a discount rate yet on the cost or consideration of 1 million pesos. Understood? Yeah, another example tayo. Suppose, si Dave at saka si Ann ulit. Siyempre, 1 million pesos. Tapos, sabi nila, baka naman pwedeng 30% discount. Sabi ni Miss Jamie, pwede namang 10% discount. Sabi niya, sa 1 million. Suppose, natuwa si Dave at saka si Ann. So, okay, Dave and Ann were ecstatic at the 10% discount offered by Miss Jamie. They said yes to it, along with all the inclusions in the Marriott Hotel quotation. Is there a perfected contract now? This time, yes, since meron ng meeting of the minds as to the object with this, which is the Marriott Ballroom B wedding venue for December 6, 2024, inclusive of food, then, and ang price is 900,000 lang instead of 1 million pesos, meron ng perfected contract. Pumayag na sa offer yung both parties. Therefore, we can now say that all 3 requisites have been achieved. Therefore, there is now a perfected contract. Here, after full payment of the couple and after Marriott has served the food and allowed the use of Ballroom B to the couple, their wedding guests on December 6, 2024, all obligations have been fulfilled and the contract is now consummated or terminated. So, ang gusto lang sabihin nito is, the moment na pumayag si Dave at saka si Ann dun sa 10% discount for Ballroom B with food on December 6, 2024 na offer ni Miss Jamie, perfected na yung contract. Meron na silang kontrata. Ngayon, pag dumating yung araw na December 6, 2024 and natuloy yung wedding ni Dave and Ann and natuloy yung kanilang wedding reception sa Marriott Hotel Ballroom B at na-serve ni Miss Jamie yung food na order nila, at the end of the night, consummated na yung kanilang kontrata or terminated na because yung stage na yon na fulfill ni Miss Jamie yung kanyang obligation to provide the wedding venue and the food, and na fulfill na ni Dave and Ann in our supposedly nabayaran na nila yung kanilang 900,000 peso na bill kay Miss Jamie. Therefore, fulfilled na yung contract or terminated na yung contract pagkatapos ng gabi na yon. Understood? Now, bakit natin gustong bigyan ng time ang contracts law? It's because meron siyang mga characteristics na importanteng maintindihan natin as practitioners in tourism and hospitality. Ano-ano itong mga characteristics of a contract na gusto ko maintindihan ninyo and ma-appreciate? This is not exhaustive ha. I only chose 4 characteristics na gusto ko ma-enjoy ninyo and maintindihan. Ito yung, ang contract, there is mutuality, there is autonomy, there is an obligatory force, and there is relativity. Medyo vague tong mga terms na to, but we will discuss them one by one. First is the mutuality of contracts. The contract is binding to both contracting parties, to both persons who entered into the contract, binding ito to both of them, mutually binding. Okay? The validity or performance or compliance of a contract cannot be left to the will of only one of the parties. Hindi pwedeng unequal yung power ng mga parties sa isang kontrata. Hindi pwedeng isang party lang or isang person lang yung pwedeng mag-determine kung valid ba yung contract na pinasok nila. Hindi pwedeng isa lang doon sa party na yon ang pwedeng mag-determine whether or not ipa-perform yung or ifo-fulfill yung kontrata. Hindi ganon. Kasi kahit meron kayong kasunduan na itong kontrata na to, si person A at saka si person B, nagsabi sila, terms and conditions natin, itong si person A, pwede niya sabihin, hindi valid ito kontratang pinasok natin. Hindi pwede ganun. Kahit nakalagay yun sa kontrata, sinulat ninyo, hindi yun pwede. Because ang contract, kailangan merong mutuality. Kailangan binding siya on both contracting parties. Equal sila dapat. Understood? Next is autonomy. Ano ang autonomy? Ibig sabihin nito, so long as hindi contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order or public policy, yung terms and conditions, yung contracting parties, they are free to establish kung ano yung gusto nilang terms and conditions, kung anong gusto nilang clauses, kung anong gusto nilang stipulations. Free kayo na mag-dictate kung anong gusto ninyong kasunduan. Because one characteristic of a contract is autonomy. Okay? Example. Sarah was hired as a flight attendant of Swifties Airways. The company, Swifties Airways, and Sarah executed an employment contract which states, employment contract na pinasok nila ha, nakasaad doon ang stipulation na since Sarah will be flying in and out of iconic destinations in the Philippines like El Nido and Boracay for free, her salary will be slightly below the minimum wage. So, doon sa kanilang employment contract, sabi ng Swifties Airways, since dahil ikaw ay flight attendant, lilipad ka from Naiya to Palawan or to Boracay for free dahil yan ang iyong mga flight routes, libre na yung lipad mo sa aeroplano. Therefore, mas mababa dapat yung sweldo mo than the minimum wage. Sarah, thinking, good deal to ha, pumayag siya. So, Because she always wanted to see El Nido, Sarah agreed to the contract. Question: is the salary stipulation na dapat ang salary ni Sarah below minimum wage, is it proper? Answer in your paper, yes or no. Yung kasunduan ba nila na below minimum wage yung babayad kay Sarah, kasi flight attendant naman siya, napupunta at babalik sa Boracay, sa El Nido, sa Puerto Princesa, yun ba ay valid? Ang sagot, no. Although, meron tayong autonomy of contracts, free to stipulate ang mga parties, kailangan hindi siya contrary to law. In this case, meron tayong statutory minimum wage. Sa batas yan na ang minimum wage ay ganito, halimbawa 500 pesos per day. Hindi pwedeng 200 pesos lang ay babayad kay Sarah, kasi pag 200 pesos lang ang babayad mo kay Sarah, contrary to law na yan. Therefore, hindi pwede na maging valid sa kontratang pinasok nila. Understood? So, generally, free to stipulate ang mga parties kung ano gusto nilang terms and conditions, so long as it's not contrary to law, good morals, public order, public policy. The third one I want to share with you is the obligatory force of contracts. So, general rule, contracts are perfected by mere consent. And from that moment, the parties are bound not only to the fulfillment of what has been expressly stipulated, but also to all the consequences which, according to their nature, may be in keeping with good faith, usage, and law. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Ang gusto lang sabihin nito na may force of law na yung kontrata pag yan ay perfected. Ibig sabihin, pag meron kayong kasunduan, i-fulfill mo yan in good faith. Huwag mong try dayain yung kausap mo. Kung ano yung pinag-usapan ninyo, i-fulfill mo because bakit? Kung hindi, pwede kanyang dalhin sa korte at ipakita kay judge na deserving siya ng judgment in their favor kasi hindi mo sinunod yung kasunduan ninyo. May force of law na ang isang kontrata once it is perfected. So, anong gusto kong sabihin sa inyo, guys? Ang gusto kong sabihin is, once the contract is perfected, you, as a contracting party, is strongly encouraged to faithfully observe the terms and conditions that you agreed upon. Because otherwise, a cause of action for breach of contract may arise which may hold you liable for the payment of damages. So, hindi lang pangalan mo yung masisira, magbabayad ka pa ng damages. So, try to observe faithfully yung terms and conditions na mga pinapasok ninyong kontrata or agreement. The last characteristic I want to share with you of a contract is relativity of a contract. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Ibig sabihin, a contract entered into by parties are binding not only between them, but also their heirs and assigns. General rule yan. Except yan, in cases where the rights and obligations arising from the contract are not transmissible by their nature, or by stipulation, or by provision of law. So, anong gustong sabihin nito? Ibig sabihin nito, pag pumasok kayo sa kontrata, bound kayong contracting parties. Pero hindi lang kayo, pati yung mga yung inyong tagapagmana, bound din sa kontrata na yon. And yung mga kung sino man i-assign ninyong tao dun sa right na yon, bound din. Kailangan nilang i-respect yung kontrata na pinasok ninyo. Example, kapag nagkaroon ikaw na pumasok ka ng contract of sale of your house and lot with another party, kapag na-perfect yung inyong kontrata, sinulat niyo sa papel, nagkasundo kayo, nagpirmahan kayo, nagkabayaran, Hindi pwedeng pag namatay ka bukas, yung anak mo, hindi niya pwedeng sabihin, ay hindi ako pumasok sa kontrata yan. Tatay ko lang or nanay ko lang pumasok sa kontrata na yan. Sa akin pa rin tong bahay na to dahil akong tagapagmana niya. Hindi pwedeng ganun, guys. Ibig sabihin, kung pinasok nyo validly yung kontrata na pagbenta mo ng bahay at lupa mo, pati yung iyong mga tagapagmana, kailangan i-respect yung contract of sale na yon. One thing though that I want you to understand, medyo insider information. Kapag ka nagkaroon ng, halimbawa, sa pamilya, may minana ka, bawa lupa, minana mo yung lupa, pero yung lupang yon merong nakabit siya sa isang loan. For example, the heir is not liable beyond the value of the property he received from the decedent. Okay, ibig sabihin yung heir, yung nagmana ng lupang yon. Yung lupa, naka-loan siya. 1 million yung value ng lupa, yung loan na hindi pa nababayaran is 5 million. Ibig sabihin, kung ikaw yung nagkapagmana ng lupa, napunta sa yung lupa at hinabol ng bangko yung 5 million, hindi ikaw na nag-receive ng mana, hindi ka liable na magbayad ng 5 million. Pwede ka lang magbayad ng 1 million na value ng lupa. Hanggang dun lang. After nun, wala ka nang kailangang bayaran pa. Okay? Dahil sinasabi ng law na the heir o yung nagmana is not liable beyond the value of the property he received from the decedent or kung sino yung namatay at nagpamana. Okay, we're in the last leg of our contracts law, so let's take 5 more minutes of break before we proceed para meron kayong time mag-digest. All right. You have the last minute to get back to your seats so we can proceed. All right, wonderful. So, for the last part, I want to talk about defective contracts and their effects. As you can see, I'm trying to use this visual side of the left side of the screen as visual references because gusto ko makita ninyo na we're going to talk about defective contracts. Ito yung mga may kontrata pero merong defect. Papangit ng papangit yung defect niya until may actually walang kontrata. Pansin ninyo, merong medyo maayos-ayos pa, may basag na naka-clear, at saka merong drawing lang. Ito yung mga rescissible contracts, voidable contracts, unenforceable contracts, and void and inexistent contracts. Yan guys, I wanted you to keep in mind na yan yung ating mga pag-uusapan in this last part of our session. Yan yung mga more or less medyo may encounter nyo most likely during your careers in the future. So let's start. Let's start ng medyo buo-buo pa. Rescissible contracts. Ito yung mga contracts na valid because it has all the essential requisites, but by reason of injury or damage caused to either of the contracting parties or to third persons, the contract may be defective and thus may be rescinded. Anong ibig sabihin ng rescinded? Ibig sabihin, pwedeng mag-back out yung mga parties. Meron silang valid na contract, pero because merong injury or merong damage to either of the contracting parties or merong third party na will stand to be injured by the contract, then pwede silang pumunta ng courts or pwede silang mag-back out dun sa kanilang napagkasundoan na perfected contract. Example, Edna borrowed 5 million from Greta to purchase a property where she planned to establish a cafe. Edna promised to repay the loan. So si Edna yung borrower ng 5 million. Si Greta yung nagpahiram ng 5 million. Ang gusto ni Edna, magtayo ng cafe using the 5 million na hiniram niya kay Greta. When Edna failed to repay the loan, despite a written demand made to her by Greta, Greta filed a case against Edna to collect her money. So, ibig sabihin, due na yung 5 million na babayaran. Pero hindi nagbayad si Edna. Nag-demand na si Greta na bayaran siya. Hindi pa rin nagbayad si Edna. Therefore, meron ng default or delay, correct? Ngayon, dahil may default or delay, nag-file na ng kaso si Greta against Edna for the collection of sum of money para mabayaran siya. When the courts finally decided on the case in favor of Greta, yung nagpahiram, na-discover ni Greta na si Edna pala binenta na yung cafe at saka yung lupa na kinatatayuan ng cafe kay Leo. Since Greta cannot in any other manner collect the 5 million pesos due to her and the contract of sale between Edna and Leo was entered into by Edna in fraud of her creditor, then Greta can file an action for rescission of the contract of sale. Ibig sabihin, since after niyang manalo sa kaso, nag-try si Greta na mag-collect kay Edna pero wala siyang makolekta para mabalik sa kanya yung 5 million niya. Pwede siyang pumunta sa korte at patunayan na si Edna, binenta niya yung cafe at yung property kay Leo kasi gusto niyang matakasan yung pagbayad niya kay Greta. Pag si Greta napatunayan niya yun sa court, ang korte magsasabi na okay, kailangan i-rescind yung contract of sale. Kailangan ibalik ni Leo yung property kay Edna and si Edna kailangan ibalik yung purchase price kay Leo and si Edna ibabalik niya yung property kay Greta para mabayaran si Greta nung kanyang 5 million pesos. Once the courts judicially rescind the contract of sale between Edna and Leo, the parties will return to their original position as if there was no contract entered into in the first place. So in short, pag sinabi ng court, yung contract of sale na yan, pagbenta ng cafe at ng lupa, yan ay proper, dapat i-rescind. So babalik ni Edna yung binayad sa kanya Leo, babalik naman ni Leo yung property kay Edna. So parang walang nangyari between kay Leo and kay Edna. So ngayon, pwede na ngayon habulin ni Greta si Edna para either the property or for the 5 million pesos na utang sa kanya. If the property, or in this case, the cafe and the lupa na kinatatayuan ng cafe has been disposed of by Leo, yung value nun ngayon or yung purchase price, yun ngayon ang ibibigay kay Greta. Understood guys? So si Edna yung si Edna yung borrower, nagtry siyang tumakas sa kanyang obligation to repay the loan. Binenta niya yung cafe kay Leo. Kung hindi may babalik ni Leo yung property kay Edna, then yung purchase price na na-receive ni Edna, yun yung ibibigay kay Greta as kabayaran dun sa loan ni Edna. Understood? After ng rescissible contract, voidable naman yung pupuntahan natin. Ano ulit yung voidable? Ang voidable, ibig sabihin nito, valid yung contract, but it can be judicially annulled or declared void by a competent court. Bakit merong ganito? Because meron tayong Article 1390 ng Civil Code. Sinasabi doon na the following contracts are voidable or annullable, even though there may have been no damage to the contracting parties. Number 1, yung kontrata na those where one of the parties is incapable of giving consent to the contract, or those where the consent is vitiated by mistake, violence, intimidation, undue influence, or fraud. Tandaan nyo, kanina, pinag-usapan natin sa meeting of the minds, kailangan siya voluntary, kailangan siya intentional, kailangan siya at least may understanding yung parties. Kung nakuha yung consent or yung meeting of the minds ng merong kasamang karahasan or merong kasamang fraud, then voidable yung contract. Merong perfected contract kasi yung essential requisites. Ano yung essential requisites ulit? Meeting of the minds, object, cause or consideration. Dahil present yung tatlong yon, perfected yung contract. Merong valid contract. But kung merong involvement na intimidation or violence sa pagkuha ng consent, pwedeng maging voidable yung contract. Ibig sabihin, valid yung contract but yung party na victim of violence, pwede siya pumunta sa court para mapawalang bisa yung contract through the judgment of a competent court. Another one is if one of the contracting parties is incapable of giving consent, pero dahil present yung tatlong requisites na perfect yung contract, ibig sabihin, meron kayong voidable contract. Okay? Dahil merong voidable contract, valid yung contract na yon. It is binding unless they are annulled by a proper action in court. Unless i-annul siya ng korte. Okay? But likewise, dahil valid siya, ito ay susceptible to ratification. Ibig sabihin, pwede siyang, may defect siya, no? Valid siyang contract pero may defect siya. Pero pagka siya ay, sige, yung isang contracting parties, nawala na halimbawa yung intimidation. Sinabi pa rin niya na, sige, tuloy na natin to. Ratified na yung contract. Okay na yung contract. Hindi na siya voidable. Understood? Example tayo. Sige. So, Carlo is 25 years old. He sold his iPhone 13 to Kyle. Kyle is 15 years old. Carlo and Kyle agreed on the price of 25,000 pesos. Pag-uwi ni Kyle sa bahay, the parents of Kyle learned of this transaction and they did not approve of it. Sabi nila, hindi ka pwedeng bumili ng iPhone 13. Can the contract of sale be annulled? Pwede ba nating maapa-annul yung contract? The answer is yes, because one of the contracting parties is a minor. Si Kyle, 15 years old pa lang siya. And minors are not capable of giving consent. Here, Kyle, a contracting party, was below 18 years old. Hence, the contract may be annulled. Okay, nga kanina may basag tayong vase. Pero ngayon, yung basag nating vase clear pa. So, ito naman yung mas pangit ang lagay na kontrata, na defective contract. And we call this unenforceable contracts. Okay? This type of contract cannot be enforced unless it is first ratified due to the following reasons. The contract was entered into under the name of another by one who has been given no authority or legal representation or who has acted beyond his powers. Example, ikaw na nakakontentong na nakikinig sa aking lecture, hindi mo alam yung kapatid mo pala binenta na yung laptop mo sa kaibigan niya. Hindi pwedeng yung kaibigan niya pumunta sa korte at i-compel ka na ibenta mo yung laptop mo kasi hindi mo naman binibenta yung laptop mo. Ang nagbenta nun is yung kapatid mo na hindi mo naman binibigyan ng authority. Therefore, unenforceable yung contract. Kahit magsisigaw pa yung kaibigan na bumili ng laptop sa'yo, hindi niya pwedeng dalhin ka sa korte para i-compel ka na ibenta yung laptop mo. Okay? Number 2, a contract did not comply with the statute of frauds. Diba sa statute of frauds, meron tayong certain transactions na must be first in writing to be enforceable. Kung wala siya in writing, hindi ka pwedeng dalhin sa korte para i-compel na ituloy yung supposedly kasunduan. Anong example nito? Example, yung agreement nyo to sell real property. Kung kagabi, nagkainuman, sabi mo, nagkasunduan kayo ng friend mo na, sige, yung farm mo sa Bacolod, ibebenta mo na sa kanya for 10 million pesos. Tapos, nalasing kayo, tapos hangover, pagising kanina umaga, hindi ka pwedeng pilitin ng kaibigan mo na ibenta sa kanya yung yung farm mo sa Bacolod kasi hindi naman yon nakalagay sa kasulatan. Dahil yun ay covered transaction under statute of frauds, kung hindi nakasulat yung inyong contract of sale of the farm in Bacolod, this falls under the statute of frauds and hindi ka pwedeng dalhin sa korte ng kaibigan mo para i-force kang ibenta yung farm mo sa Bacolod. Okay? If these contracts are not in writing, the other party may not even sue for any alleged violations of such contracts. And then, number 3, if both parties are incapable of giving consent. Pag halimbawa, parehong bata nagpasok sa pagbentahan ng iPhone 13, these are unenforceable contracts. Okay? Kailangan ma-ratify muna siya ng parents nung isa or both parents para siya ma-enforce. Hindi pwedeng magpilitan yung dalawa na, halimbawa, si Kyle, 15 years old, at saka si Sheila, 15 years old. Sabi ni Kyle, benta ko sa iyo iPhone 13 for 25,000. Pumayag si Sheila. Kung hindi ibigay ni Kyle yung iPhone 13 bukas at hindi bayaran ni Sheila yung 25,000, nung nag-meet sila, hindi pwedeng i-force nung isa yung other one na ituloy yung kanilang pinag-usapan dahil pareho silang minor. Since they are both incapable of giving consent, yung pinag-usapan nilang bentahan ng iPhone 13 for 25,000 pesos falls squarely under unenforceable contracts. And para pwedeng magkaroon ng right para maghablahan, kailangan magkaroon muna ng ratification bago magkaroon ng reason for compelling the parties to proceed with the contract. Lastly, void contract. Kung kanina meron pa tayong vase na tinitingnan, ngayon drawing na lang. Ibig sabihin nito, wala talagang kontrata na nabuo. Void or inexistent contract. Nothing. This has no legal effect whatsoever. It cannot even be validated either by ratification or prescription. Okay? But do note, class, that although a void contract has no legal effect, even if no action is taken to set it aside, when all of its terms have been performed, kahit na walang kontrata, pero yung terms niya na perform, an action to declare its inexistence is necessary to allow restitution of what has been given under it. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Kung wala naman talaga, hindi kompleto yung object, hindi kompleto yung causal consideration, meeting of the minds lang nagkaroon. So, ibig sabihin, wala yung tatlong requisites for perfection of a contract. So, walang kontrata. Pero kung yung isang party, ginawa niya yung terms and conditions, nagbayad siya, for example, ng 25,000. Pero yung isa naman, receive niya. Pero wala naman sila napagkasunduan na object. Ano ba yung kapalit ng 25,000? Para makuha nung nagbayad ulit yung 25,000, kailangan niya pumunta ng korte para ipa-declare na void or inexistent yung contract para makuha niya ulit yung 25,000. Gets you guys? So, tandaan, ano yung 3 requisites of a contract, essential requisites? First one is consent or meeting of the minds. Ano yung number 2? Object. And then number 3, cause or consideration. Pag wala yung tatlong yan, wala tayong kontratang pinag-uusapan. Void yung contract, inexistent. Also, sinasabi rin ng law na itong mga to are void contracts. Ano itong mga to? Yung contracts, those whose cause, object, or purpose is contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order, or public policy. Remember, yung rule natin on objects, for example, it cannot be contrary to law. cannot be contrary to morals. It cannot be against good customs. It cannot be against public order. And it cannot be against public policy. Kung hindi, void yung contract na yan. Number 2, those which are absolutely simulated or fictitious. Ibig sabihin nito, pinalabas lang sa papel na merong kontratang pinagkasunduan pero wala naman talagang pinagkasunduan. Puro palabas lang yon and wala naman talaga silang balak na pumasok sa contract. Wala naman talaga silang object, wala naman talagang consideration. Then, void yung contract na yon. Number 3, those whose cause or object did not exist at the time of the transaction. Ibig sabihin, kailangan yung object certain existing na yon during the transaction. Kung hindi, walang kontrata, hindi kompleto ang essential requisites of a contract, therefore, walang perfected contract, therefore, void yung contract. Number 5, those whose object is outside the commerce of man. Example, ikaw na binenta mo yung Manila Bay. Yung Manila Bay ba within the commerce of man? Pwede mo ba yung maangkin? Hindi. Therefore, kung binenta mo yung Manila Bay, kahit nagkabayaran pa kayo, walang kontratang nag-e-exist. It's a void contract because the object, Manila Bay, is outside the commerce of men. Number 5, those which contemplate an impossible service. Impossible service. For example, impossible service is kapag babayaran kita kapag lumipad ka bukas from Manila to Pampanga. Yung service of flying na ikaw lang, walang eroplano, walang kahit ano, that's impossible. Therefore, walang kontrata na perfect. Number 6, those where the intention of the parties relative to the principal object of the contract cannot be ascertained. So, pag yung intention ng mga parties na pumasok sa kontrata hindi ma-determine relative to the principal object or kung ano yung target ng contract, kung hindi siya ma-determine, walang certain na object. Therefore, hindi kompleto yung 3 requisites of a contract. Therefore, void yung contract. And then lastly, those expressly prohibited or declared void by law. So, pag yung mga yan, nag-fall ang kontrata ninyo dyan, you have in your hands a void contract. Drawing yan. No legal effect, walang kahit anong binding. Kasi walang kontratang pinag-uusapan. So guys, that concludes our discussion on contracts law. After this one, we will be jumping to, I believe, sales law after this one. Kung guys, meron pa kayong mga questions on anything, please wag mahiya. Tanggalin ang hiya, okay? Itapon yan sa palabas ng window. Isulat nyo and then share it to your beadle so that your beadle can share it with me so that I can answer them once we meet again. Hopefully, the audio of this recording is better than the ones prior so that maintindihan ninyo kung ano yung gusto kong points na maintindihan ninyo. Again, thank you for your time, class, and have a good day.